Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed.
And hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel and GenreVerse Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps. Check out LRMonline.com, of course, every day for written news, reviews, celebrity interviews, and more from the LRM YouTube channel. Mentioning YouTube, I said, subscribe here on the GenreVerse, and of course, follow us on your favorite podcast app if you are listening to us there. Also, we have a merch shop, Redbubble, doing prints for all of our podcast logos, some cute anime girl stuff, and some Star Wars ideas, and more coming in the future. I'm Kyle, joined by my cohorts, Shockey and Cam Clark. Shockey, Cam, guys, how's it going?
Good.
We're here to review Ahsoka episode 8, and I think I said some stuff last week first, so let's just go with Shockey. What'd you grade this episode?
Oh, what did I? This was like a B minus C plus, somewhere around there. Listen. I know that this was a setup for possibly a season 2 for Ahsoka, or to John, or was it it's not it's Favreau, but to what's the guys in charge?
Filoni
Filoni, Dave
Favreau.
Filoni, yeah. Filoni's, yeah. Sorry, this is how much this episode really ruined me. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if like the Filoni movie is what's going to set up, it was basically this show setting up for. But yeah, I was really disappointed that the editing was off. There was some weird clips to me that just didn't make any sense.
We'll definitely get there in the bad.
And so I felt there was a lot of things that just were rushed and could have been well drawn out, that we could have gotten last episode. Like we talked about, last episode was a filler episode. All that stuff could have been shrunk down that they talked about in last episode in 10 minutes, and the remaining 20-25 we could have drawn some more stuff out for some characters like Balin, like Shin. I think they got completely shafted in the last 2 episodes. The Night Sisters, or the mothers, like we really didn't get anything out of them. Like, what's the purpose of them besides the very little animal at Dathomir, but we still don't know. Like, so, and this is something that I just maybe it's once it's all together and put. But this was a lackluster, season finale, whatever you want to call it.
Ain't nobody got time to wait on things. Cam, how, or actually, Shockey, take a stand. C plus or B minus?
C plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cam, what you got, man?
I mean, I'm not really far off you. I think when in my written review, I gave it a B minus. Sorry, because there's nothing outstandingly horrible about it as such, but it's just not that good either. It's just mid, and I kind of just agree with pretty much everything you said, Shockey, about the problems with it. They spent too much time on the unimportant stuff in this series and not enough time on the actual fresh ideas that might have been in there. And of all the things that they could have did, what happens when we meet up with Thrawn and Ezra after all this time. There are a lot of potentially exciting options that you could choose with that. They went for just the most bland option. Nothing's changed in that 10 years. And they've just been waiting for us to pick the story back up again and get back home. And that's really all that's going on. It's just an excuse to set up some fights and some battles and some action scenes sometimes, rather than it's almost like they were written before the story. Where's the plot? Where's the plot here?
Where's the risk?
Not enough plot. And there's no threat, or what could happen? It doesn't feel as if there's any stakes. It's just
I said this I said this a while ago that I felt Star Wars is becoming more and more comic booky. The same way stakes are in comic books. I'm talking traditional Western like cape books, and the some of the corniness and some of the willingness to really just mess with canon because whatever we wanted to do it right. The canon is whatever it needs to be. I give it a C plus. I think there was a lot of issues in it. I want to dig into those because Shockey mentioned some of them as well. And but before we get into the bad, let's talk about what good there was here. I actually don't have a lot on the good side. I have a lot of things that weren't necessarily bad, but they're not necessarily good. My wife left like 15 minutes into the episode. She's like, I don't care, and just got up and went away, and I finished it, but I didn't care either. So does anyone have some good? Cam?
I mean, I thought the Morgan Elspeth and Ahsoka fight was better choreographed than all the other fights that they had done this episode, certainly. It kind of probably worked better when she went down to having one saber, because I just don't think they've got it right, the choreography, when she uses two. You know, like when she was animated, it was all, you know, these really low, she would do the splits and the blades would be out wide, and it just doesn't, I don't know, she looks
more
better.
acrobatic.
She looks better with just one blade. And because she loses a blade in that one, I actually enjoyed the choreography when it was just one blade on blade a little bit better. So I thought that was a decent enough. I thought the setup for it was crap, but you know, I thought it was a decent enoughly short fight up until the troops appeared, and then they just kind of stood around and didn't do what troops would do, and as if to say, you know, oh, we're supposed to stand here and make it look like we're in this volume image. Yeah. But I mean, we talked about it. We was trying to talk about the goods. Yang, I still like Yang. Yep. I think his lines are some of the best. There was still some good sort of little one-liners in dialogue.
Always happy
some of the
to
imagery
listen
was
to
okay.
David
I like
Tennant
the imagery of Balin standing on the sort of statue of the father figure. You know, that was a nice image, you know, that I liked. So there was some prettiness to it a little bit, but you know, for Rick Famuyiwa, who has done some big episodes of Mando, I just thought it just didn't have any climax to it.
Can't blame the pandemic on everything these days anymore. So
did you have any good?
Shockey? Good.
I enjoyed the zombie stormtroopers, like just for a little bit. It was kind of like, oh, okay, like it's, you know, but it kind of
I liked it for the first 10 seconds.
That
got too corny.
But then it kept repeating itself, and I'm like, yeah, no, like this needed that first initial reaction when they're all down and then they get
when
up,
they all get back up.
You can see the green eyes and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. But then they blasted through the doors 3 times. They chased after. I mean, it got old real fast.
I just cut that down. I would actually prefer if they just cut them in bits again, but gave them more time.
But
I'll bitch about them in the bad.
I enjoyed that part. Just for that brief second there. I enjoyed the 20 seconds we got a Balin, like that we that he was talking about he's here for a bigger purpose. I wish we got a little bit more of that, and
that's where the story is.
Yeah, that's the most interesting part, is that how does he know about the father, the son, and the daughter?
Is he a representative of the father now?
And it makes me think that there's more to Balin that I've heard about from when the show was filming and everything that did not get put in the final, for whatever reason.
Because they want to snip the story, change it out because Ray Stevenson died.
Maybe. And so they know they're going to have to recast. So instead of getting too deep into this version. But I mean, come on. They did it with Harry Potter and no one cared, when Dumbledore was recasted in that situation.
Hey, they recast
it's clear
T'Challa.
that the character was intended to carry on. So he just needs to
so
be
everyone would have understood.
Yeah, I think everyone likes it. But
that to me was like, how is it kind of, makes you think now, how did he know about Anakin? Was when the Jedi Temple fell, did he take text away? Maybe he found out about the mission. So you have to know about the Clone Wars episodes on Mortis, about how Kenobi and Anakin and Ahsoka were stuck on there.
See, my whole taste with my first taste of the whole Mortis stuff came from the EU books. I don't remember if it was Legacy of the Force or Fate of the Jedi, but Abeloth and the weird creature that could be in people's minds and making all the Jedi think everyone's a doppelganger. Yep. That was stupid in book. I have no interest in revisiting it. I know it was in the cartoons, and I don't know which one came first.
It wasn't done as bad in the cartoons.
But
in terms of,
I don't care.
Stuff, but it was all there in comics and stuff.
But that 20 seconds of Balin standing on the statue, I'm like, that's what I wanted to see. Like, that's the storyline there. Or give me something else with Thrawn besides these. But that to me, the 5 seconds of the stormtroopers reviving, but then Balin standing on the statue, we see the statue of the father, the son, and then you get the daughter, but the head of the daughter is missing and stuff. So
because it's Ahsoka and she's not there.
Well, because Morai is there now and stuff. So Morai hadn't been in the entire show, and then all of a sudden shows up on this planet. So very few things positive, but those are it.
Getting into what's up, Cam?
No.
Dislikes.
No.
Well, let me read a few things that I disliked about this episode.
We have enough time?
We do. The dumb sword. I get that it was already in cartoons, but it's dumb in Star Wars. I'm sorry. I know the Force and the witches are very different in the EU than they are in canon these days, but there was things in the EU with the Force that I didn't like. This is something that I wouldn't like even if it were EU. They try so desperately hard to make Thrawn feel like this military tactician, but it doesn't work because they've put him in a very, very constricting location and situation to where all of the military crap that he's doing just comes off as sounding like you guys don't know what to write, don't know what to do, you don't know how to deal with delegation, and even the stuff that you are trying to write, it doesn't sound super smart, even if you scaled it up to an actual strategic level, which is what Thrawn would handle, strategic planning. I don't get it. And for those of you that don't know, strategic is a level encompassing like multiple battlefields. Okay, like you've got tactical, strategic, local. It's just a tier level. I'm not talking strategy in general. So those things, I think Elsbeth trying to let Ezra and Sabine go was dumb. There should have been something. She should have wanted to try to split them up, and it felt like to me it was just like, oh, let's hurry up and get to this fight that's gonna happen. The tower climb is the only reason for the ship to be seated over it, Cam. So that idea was still dumb.
I thought it looked good visually when it came up. To be fair, that was what I liked.
The choreography for the Sabine rescue was really bad when she shows up to help Ahsoka. There are times where, again, the stormtroopers are like sitting there waiting for their time to die. It was atrocious. It was one of the worst choreographed moments I've seen in these since Book of Boba Fett. It was trash, and you guys should be ashamed of yourselves for it. How did the Steeds survive? Like they bombed the tower of which you think they left them in, because they wouldn't have left them outside with the bombardment. So how did the Steeds survive? And the last one, the most important one, how the fuck did Ezra get off the damn Star Destroyer?
You know, it
just all of a sudden, just one of us.
Like, how does Ezra get off? He was on. I'm interested to see, how does he get out of this situation? How did he get out of it? By the magic wave of the hand, and he's just left. I would have rather saw that. I'd have rather saw Ezra have to get his way out the ship. That's an interesting bit of story.
I think
write it.
It would be so much more interesting if he was in with
If he's
Thrawn.
still in cahoots. I mentioned that last week, I think. And still,
that would be interesting. But
if that were the case,
they revealed it now.
Yep, that should have been a cliffhanger.
Exactly.
That should have been
because this just feels dumb.
On the bridge with Thrawn, they start talking to each other or something like that, would have really just turned everything on its head. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that's the way they had to go, because that might not be, you know, and following his head for where he wants Ezra to be a heroic character and all that sort of stuff. But what they did do wasn't anything. It was just bland.
Yep.
So bland.
And we can, if he's going to escape, then show us his skills in escaping, because just turning up was stupid. And we all knew who exactly it was when that shuttle came in. And he walks out in the Stormtrooper. But you know who it is. You know it's Ezra. And it took like 10 minutes for him to take the helmet off as well. And you're like, fucking hurry up.
God. And security on the ship is freaking so stupid. And he would have been debriefed. Like, dude, you just came from an outside galaxy. Somebody put a hazmat suit on him and get him in a freaking cell. Like, not that he's under arrest or anything, but you need to quarantine this dude. Like, it's so badly written.
It's the writing. It is. It's the writing's just.
It's so badly
written. In it. I'll give it this. It's written like a live action cartoon.
That's what I was going to ask.
The kind of lower level that you'd expect on, like, but you get 20 episodes in a cartoon, right? So you can tell a story really slowly in a cartoon and have lots of action to keep the kids entertained. But you can watch 10 of them in a row. Do you know what I mean? But you can't do that in live action.
Let me ask you guys this, and maybe Shockey being the bigger of the Toon fan, and then hear Cam's thoughts as well. But do you feel that this was written, like, if this had been animated, do you think your complaints would still stand? If this was an episode of Rebels
because
season,
even when watching Clone Wars and Rebels, there's still like there's like Rebel season 1, I don't enjoy. Like I tell everybody, like, if you can truck through it so you understand the characters.
I couldn't.
But go straight to season 2 if you can't, because season 2 picks up really well. And like, to me, season 2, season 3 of Rebels, great. Season 4, it's okay. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it wraps everything up. But the same thing with Clone Wars. Like, there's, you know, end of season 1 and stuff. Season 3, like, really season 7 is like the pinnacle, because, you know, Filoni had, I don't know, what, 10 years less than that to really flesh that story outline and stuff and everything. But yeah, it's the same thing, same issues I have from the Clone Wars and Rebels series, and just in Star Wars in general. I think that's why everybody has such high hopes for Andor, because how well it's written, and the writing for that series, you know, is the peak right now for Star Wars. Everything else, you know, I think Mando season 1 was great writing, great storytelling. But overall, everything else has been, you know, like Cam's words, mid. You know, there hasn't been any risk. There hasn't been anything that's
no risk taking.
Well, that's because, like, that's the problem with.
You look at Mando season 1, how that ends with Mando, you know, and Grogu or Baby Yoda basically eye to eye. How and then it drops right there, and you're like, how the hell is this gonna go? Like, our minds were blown after that, you know, that season finale. Like, we haven't had that Andor season finale. It's like, how is this gonna play out now? We're like, everybody thought that by the time Andor season 1 ended, we were gonna basically be right up in the rebellion, and nope, it's taken a whole different turn, you know, in that. So I think it needs more risk. We gotta have, you know, I don't know if it's maybe because, you know, the sequel trilogy, because of The Last Jedi took so many risks that now, like, everything's, you know, lock and key and super safe, you know, and everything. It could possibly
I mean, I would argue the sequel trilogy didn't take, maybe The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi did, but then they reversed course with Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
But it was subversion for the sake of subversion, but The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker were their attempt to not take any risks and play it safe, and it really backfired for them.
So to go back to, like, when we reported way back, and, you know, I shared you guys the article. It was back in 2020 when, you know, we reported that there was this whole plan to make a Game of Thrones type of universe for Star Wars, because that was, 2019, 2020 was peak Game of Thrones. And that was going to be the direction that, Lucasfilm was going to take these Disney Plus shows, which was going to be, in my opinion, probably the best decision. The difference is with Game of Thrones, we were on the edge of our seat every single episode. Every season finale left us with some sort of big cliffhanger. How is this person going to get out of this situation? What's going to happen?
Characters had arcs.
Yes, big arcs.
And things that happen have consequences. And nothing in Ahsoka has any.
The one thing I loved about Game of Thrones, and really like Mando season 1, is that they took their time with everything. It wasn't rushed. Where season 8 of Game of Thrones, everything had to be done quick because it was it was the series finale, and that was the biggest complaint. Is like it felt like everything was rushed there. With Mando season 1, shoot, we really didn't even get a whole lot into like Mando or the backstory, anything. But it was how things played out, new characters and stuff, and really fleshed out on there. Because if you look at it, there were not many characters introduced in Mando season 1. It was a handful, and I feel like ever since then, Mando season 2 was Batman. Episodes of Batman, who was going to be the main character sidekick for the week. With all the different Clone Wars and animated characters coming into it, and then it's kind of been the same thing. Everything's been pretty safe. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Ahsoka. I think. The episodes, the first couple episodes were amazing. I think that the story is close to being there to where I would say, but this season finale just left me kind of like it's not a good feeling.
It was kind of like they stopped in episode 8 when it's really supposed to be a 12-episode series or something. That's what it feels like, and that's what I kind of relate it back to the cartoon. Like you could see how this would be like a mid-season endpoint for a cartoon. Then it kicks into high gear for the second half, and you're like, oh, this is actually starting to get good now. Do you know what I mean? After a point, but you can't afford to do that in live action, and then it's another 2 or 3 years before we see the next step. And I'm not even so sure if to do a season 2, if you would get to see the rest of the Thrawn story, because I think Thrawn and Ezra's story might now be, that's going to be a separate series. You think?
Yeah, because remember way back I shared. So
I showed it on screen. Yeah,
but it was the original plan was the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and then Thrawn and Ezra. As their
I think one of the biggest problems here is, unlike the Clone Wars series, which actually could have a lot of filler, like they could fill in a lot of details. Like there's not anything to butt up against other than whatever's going to be in Revenge of the Sith, right? But and even playing between 3 and 4, there's some room, because when we get to episode 4, there's not a lot of name drops. Like everything's from 4 forward for the original trilogy, right? So you get a little bit of room there. But man, do you not have a hard date and a hard story that is relatively close to where you're trying to fill in all this stuff now. And there's a lot of things that if you do it, it won't feel right, because there's none of that in the sequel trilogy. Like you almost think, where is Leia dropping Thrawn's name in the sequel trilogy? Well, they couldn't do that because you had Kathleen Kennedy miss. We don't have any we don't have any source material, dumbass. Anyways, season grades. Let's go into what would you grade this as a season there, Shockey?
As a overall, A-.
Really?
Yeah.
Cam? Oh, sorry.
I have to go B+, because for me, like a season is only as strong. A season's supposed to be a story told, and a story is only as good as its ending. And this had a really flat ending, and it was a B- ending for me. So the story overall is a B- for me, because it had some cool bits in it that I enjoyed. But as an experience, as a show, I'm not going to go back and watch that again and go, I really want to watch Ahsoka 2 a second time. I'll probably never watch Ahsoka season 1 again.
B- for me. In the words of the horse from Ren and Stimpy, no sir, I don't like it.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying not to hold it on
points
the season
for
finale.
technical
Yeah.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, even for me, it
Oh,
goes
yeah.
like Cam said,
Oh, yeah,
the whole season. Like,
Even the last 2 episodes,
Ugh.
like, you know, it just
Right.
it kind of peaked and trailed off, and I don't think you can do that. So, you know, I'm left with that memory of the series.
and here's the thing now. We've had a bunch of things to complain about in a row with one break. We've had Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Mando season 3, Andor on the positive side, and then this. That's 4 out of 5 things that people have been lukewarm to negative on, with few people being hyped on it. I'm feeling a lot like I do with Marvel these days, where it's just like punch, punch, punch. Like, okay, I'm done, right?
Quality's dropped.
I have no interest in Skeleton Crew, and it scares the crap out of me, even though they say it's not made for kids, but it's with kids, and I say this as a Stranger Things fan. I don't want to see Star Wars try this. I really don't. How are you feeling about Skeleton Crew, Cam?
I mean, I guess at this point we're saying maybe they need to take some risks, and I guess when it comes to that, I feel like maybe this is a bit of a risk, and it's always going to be down to how they pull it off. I thought Andor was like, you know, I was excited about Ahsoka. I wasn't excited about Andor. I was so wrong about how both of those went. So that would be my only answer. That, you know, I'll give it a watch and I'll see what it's like. So I need to
Shockey,
see what it's like in practice.
How about you as we wrap up?
I mean,
man?
Skeleton Crew to me is kind of, you know, it is what it is. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping that, you know, I almost want it to be like a Goonies type series and stuff. It would be hilarious if they went that route and just did more comedic performance that way.
I didn't like Ewok Adventure. I don't want that.
Oh, not Ewok Adventure, but just let a group of kids go and, you know. I still love Star Wars. I still want to enjoy it. I know it's become more of a chore for you, Kyle, than anything else. But I agree that the formula, and this is kind of what we were talking about for podcasting, the formula that Disney Plus has right now for Marvel and Star Wars is not working with the Disney Plus aspect of it. You know, could we have gotten a long 3-hour Ahsoka movie out of this instead in the theaters? Probably. Maybe, you know, two-hour films, Ahsoka 1, Ahsoka 2. I've been done with it, sure.
Maybe written a lot better than these were.
I think that Disney's got to get rid of this weekly releasing thing and just let us binge watch it and grade it that way. Because I think the build up every week, well, it's just
doesn't make the same money.
I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't make money, period.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't make money.
Discussion for a different
media interest,
podcast.
The same as weekly does. That's why they.
Yeah. Anyways, we can discuss business
Yeah,
on
we're
a
just gonna
regular
rant now.
episode.
Yeah,
On an regular episode of the Cantina, which we will look at bringing back. Hopefully, maybe next week, but that's where we talk news and rumors and stuff like that. There hasn't been a lot of stuff for many months. I wonder why, but we'll see what happens next week. You guys keep your eyes and ears glued to the sound waves, airwaves, your screens, lrmonline.com for all written news, reviews, celebrity interviews on the LRM YouTube channel, and more. If you're interested in writing for the website, definitely write Shockey. That's Michael at lrmonline.com. And of course, subscribe here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel. Lots of reactions, anime reactions, trailer reactions, podcasts covering everything in geek, pop culture, entertainment. And if it's not a reaction video, they all go up on your favorite podcast app. So give us a follow, leave thumbs up or down. Let us know why up or down. And of course, check out merch. I'm actually wearing a print right now. Redbubble does a pretty good job. So yeah, check some of that stuff out. Shockey, anything else?
No, I think you covered it all. Yeah, I hope we're back on regular Cantina stuff next week. I'll start digging for some good rumors and stuff so we can share that.
Cam?
Nothing really, just if anybody's got an interest in Wheel of Time, we'll be recording the Dragon Review this weekend as well for the season finale. So myself and Kyle are on that as well as his good lady, Christine.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.